What's up, guys? It's Jim from Wrestle Wellbeing here. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Unseen Battles. As you guys will know, I've not been on for 2 weeks. That's because myself and my wife Shannon have been away on holiday for my 30th birthday, and also because Shannon had some very good news by being told that she does not have cancer. So that's absolutely fantastic. But on to today's episode. I've got a very fantastic guest today. It's someone that I've been wanting to get on the channel for a while. And funnily enough, we actually met at UKW Celebration Aftermath, I believe. And then we met at the Showcase of Champions. But before I introduce my guest, we'll talk about the Hot Tag Foundation, guys. Obviously, for those of you that have been here before, you know exactly what I'm going to talk about. For those of you that come for the first time, first of all, welcome to the channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, click the bell so you're notified when we upload. Also, like, share, and comment on this video. Make sure that if you are watching live, make sure to put any comments, any questions to my guest. That's absolutely fine. Shall put them to the guest time depending. But for now, onto the Hot Tag Foundation. So, guys, the Hot Tag Foundation is a non-profit organisation based here in the UK that leverages the appeal of professional wrestling to young children that are suffering from things such as treatment from cancer and other things like that in hospitals. So the way that the Hot Tag Foundation does this is they collect donations from such as the public, but also from charities as well, and also from wrestling shows such as Kingdom Wrestling. And what they do with these donations is they personalize and package these donations as well, prepare the donated items for distribution, and obviously distributing the items to the children and young people. It mainly happens around the holidays, so like Christmas and things like that. And also there's events on. For example, at the end of this month at Kingdom Wrestling, they are actually doing a partnership event with Hot Tag Foundation, which myself and Liam from Magical Wrestling will be attending and doing live reactions to. Make sure you go check that out. Make sure that if you are there at the event, come and say hi, get involved with the stream. So yeah, in essence, guys, the Hot Tag Foundation uses the appeal of professional wrestling to bring joy and a sense of real-life superheroes to young children facing challenging circumstances. I'm going to play a very quick 2-minute video from those guys. And also, if you watch this video and you're watching this clip, there's also a list of the fantastic wrestling companies up and down the UK with some QR codes as well to link to their socials and everything like that. So make sure you watch this episode first and then go check that out. But for now, guys, this is the Hot Tag Foundation. Ready for turning red, steel claws of vengeance So there you are, guys. Make sure you check out the Hot Dog Foundation along with all the fantastic wrestling companies up and down the UK. But now on to today's episode of The Unseen Battles. I've got a very good friend of the channel. I've got a very good friend outside of the channel as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this man is a former UKW hardcore champion. He's a former UKW tag team champion and a former UKW heavyweight champion of the world. He is the Sultan of Slams, the Persian King, the King of the Knockouts. Ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend himself. It is Mustafa Khan. Mustafa, thank you for joining me, man.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure, my friend. So obviously, as I said before, we met at UKW Showcase of Champions and had a quick chat outside the show and did some quick fire questions, myself and you, and obviously you and Liam from Magic Wrestling. How was that show for you? But obviously you were in the tournament for the golden ticket, and you had quite a couple of matches. What was that night like, mate?
That, as ever, you know what? I just love wrestling. So for me, any night I get to wrestle, it's a buzz. I just totally enjoy it. So it was a good night, and you know what? I really enjoyed talking to you guys as well. You know that made my night as well. It was really nice to meet good, genuine people.
We appreciate that, bud. So obviously, the first match you had was against Red Broker, which was an awesome match. You obviously moved forward onto the semi-finals, and then it was supposed to be yourself and your good friend Jonathan Sedgwick in the semi-final. But unfortunately, as we know, Mr. Johan Hunt inserted himself because of a technicality.
Yeah.
Johan Hunt just seems to be the person that everyone loves to hate. Obviously, you've had some awesome matches. My first show actually with UKW was WrestleBration Aftermath, where I saw you for the first time. You obviously had the hardcore match for the world title against Johan Hunt. What's it like working with Johan?
Johan, believe it or not, is a very gifted, I hate to say this, but a very gifted and very talented wrestler. You know, to look at him, and you know, and I've always, you know, I don't really judge people, but when you look at him, you think there's not a lot of meat on this lad. You know, he's very slim. You know, you wouldn't have thought, but the thing is, he can do a lot of stuff in that wrestling ring. He uses the ropes, he uses every part of that ring. But the most important thing is that he uses his mind. He's very, very intelligent up here. So, you know, we've had some really, really good matches. Really, you know, and I hate to say it, very gifted and very talented individual.
Absolutely, bud. Absolutely. I mean, the first match that I saw with you two guys had was obviously at WrestleBration Aftermath. Like I said, you put him through a table that had got Lego pieces on the top. When he pulled out the bag with straight away, I looked at Liam and then I looked at my wife and said, "Please don't tell me that's thumbtacks." And then it was Lego, and I'm like, "No, that's too far. That's too far. I'm all right with blood and guts and everything, and like electrocuting each other, but Lego, that's too far." Yeah, what was going through your head, mate, when you got them when you brought out the bag with Lego one?
I just like, you know what, I probably would have preferred if it was thumbtacks, you know, but I wouldn't want to go through them. Lego, you know, you could stub your toe, just stand on a piece of Lego and it kills you. You know, even at 6'3", nearly 300 pounds, yeah, it's like you're a little crying baby once you stand on a bit of Lego. But what, you know, and I think that's what I did, was I kind of, the realization that there's Lego in this match. There's no chance in hell that I'm going to be landing on these Legos. It's got to be Johan. He's going through the table. He's landing on them, not me.
Absolutely, mate. Like I said, when we did the live reactions at Aftermath, and obviously it was the first time that I saw you, you came out, and obviously your music, it's really quite synonymous with you being the Persian champion. And it just, when you came out, I don't know if you've ever had this, but it almost felt like an Undertaker, like a Gunther, like a Brock Lesnar was coming out, sort of thing. You have the presence of not this one, not that one, but a final boss sort of thing character. Mm-hmm. Is that the sort of thing that you wanted when you first started?
Well, I mean, basically, I think first of all, I just want to give a massive shout out to a young lady and her family in Ireland that did the music for me and the lyrics and everything. Mrs. Rhymes, Miss Rhymes, yeah, Mrs. Rhymes, and out of the blue, they produced this track for me, and it is just one of the best tracks. One of the other things is a lot of spectators, a lot of wrestlers have said that they've listened to the soundtrack called the track called "Tap Out" by Ripping Rhymes, and it just gives them it lifts them up. It gives them that extra energy, that positivity, and every time when someone comes and talks about the music and everything, I will always message Charlene and the Ripping Rhymes crew and just say, look, this is the impact that your music has had on these people. And now when I come out, people are singing and dancing to it. It's an amazing track. One of the things what the guys that rapped on it, they kind of contacted me all the way from America and asked everything about Mustafa Khan. So when you listen to it, it's like they call, like the sledgehammer hands from Leeds, West Yorkshire, and this, that, and the other. So I've got nothing but love for Ripping Rhymes and the families and that. So sorry, what I forgot what you asked now. I forgot what you asked. Like the end of game boss or something like that. With me, when I first arrived at UKW, I'm one of those people, whatever promotion I go to wrestle, I'm really, really respectful. I shake everybody's hands, I introduce myself. But then as time I got to UKW at 2011, and as time went on, couple of people said it, quite a few people have said it, I've become the locker room leader. So so if anyone needs any advice, if there's if they need anything, it could be within wrestling, outside of wrestling. I get called uncle quite a few times. So there are a few wrestlers there that will come up to me and ask for advice and this time. I've been in the game since 2001. But and for me personally, it's about progression, not just for myself, but just for everyone else as well. And I remember when I was going through the martial art years and the wrestling years when I was younger. I'm 51 now, so I've been in the game for a very long time. I used to listen to the older ones where some people mock the old guys, but the old guys are full of knowledge and experience. And there's a number of times where I've spoken to some youngsters and said, a couple of things: self-preservation, don't kill yourself in matches. I want these lot to be wrestling when they're at my age. I'm 51. I still want to wrestle. I still want to battle, and it's just words of experience. Sometimes you will get people that don't listen, but they'll learn the hard way. That's the only thing. But yeah, I love it at UKW. Love it. Everyone's sound as well, and that's my home.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Like I said, when first came to watching, you came out just like even just being in your presence, I could just feel your aura, and it just felt. I turned to Liam and said, "You could tell that this guy is a locker room leader because you could just feel like that sort of like protection from you, sort of thing, if that makes sense. That you're sort of there to make sure that everyone's okay, everyone is getting along, a sort of thing like that. So then obviously when it comes to things like mental health within wrestling, which we're going to get onto a bit further on in the video, what are your thoughts on sort of like implementing strategies within wrestling companies, sort of thing?
What concerning mental health or just well-being in general? I think it's brilliant. I mean, for me personally, I think one of my colleagues, she hit the nail on the head when quite a few years ago, I've worked in education for 20 years. And I used to run isolation rooms, which is one of the most demanding jobs that you can get. But I will sound with the kids and the kids will sound with me. I'm supposed to be the most hated person in that building, but I was the most loved by the kids. And I think I snapped my kneecap and I was supposed to be off for 3 months. Anyway, I was back after a month, and the lady that took over the inclusion room, isolation room, she was like, "How the hell do you do this?" She went, "I'm drinking 1 to 2, 3 bottles of wine a night, end of the end of the school day, and this, that, and the other." And for me, wrestling was my bottle of wine. It was my therapy. I got to do something, the reason I got into wrestling, because it was my father's dream to become a wrestler, and that's the reason I did it, because he never got the opportunity to do it. I've been involved in martial arts for 36 plus years, used to fight full contact in kickboxing, but I don't like hurting people, and that's what bothered me. And I was going places within the kickboxing world, and I made that transition. As soon as I heard my dad wanted to become a wrestler, I transitioned from martial arts to kickboxing. And for me, especially when I arrived at UKW, I think I was training 2 to 3, 4 times a week. That became my second home. And for me, mentally, physically, that was my tonic. And this is what I kind of say to a lot of people, where a lot of people will hit the alcohol, the drugs, this, that, and the other, where if you go out there, and everyone says it, my doctors have said it to me, go out, be physical, but do something that you enjoy. Wrestling, what is there not to enjoy? It's for me, I get a buzz every single time I step out, and that's what it's about.
Absolutely, mate. I'm gonna say, but I would not want to be a bad kid at your school if you were an isolation teacher. If I saw a 6'3", nearly 300-pound teacher coming at me, I'm there thinking he's gonna kill me, this bloke.
Thing is with the kids, like I'm the softest one, but I think what it is like you will get a lot of members of staff that got a chip on the shoulder, that will see every kid the same, where with me, I don't. I see individuals there, and I see kids that have got different issues and this, that, and the other. I'll give you a quick example. Once I was in a school where the staff were allowed to wear what they wanted to wear. Yeah, I went for an interview. The kids had to wear uniform, and I used to wear a 3-piece suit. When I got the job, I was running the isolation room, and I still wore a 3-piece suit. And I knew that there were some members of staff like talking behind my back, like, look at him, who does he think he is? Does he think he's the principal? Does he run this school? And this, that, and the other. And then what happened was and it was a hot day, and one of the kids was taking his tie off. And I didn't realize the principal had walked into the room, because I had my back to the door, and I'm talking to this young chap, and I went, leave your tie on. And he went, but sir, it's hot. And I went, look, I'm in the same boat as you. I said, I've got my suit on, you've got your uniform on. I can't take my tie off, you can't take your tie off, yeah? I said, I'd be a hypocrite if I was sat in here with trousers and a t-shirt or half-sleeve shirt. I'd be a hypocrite, right? And I said, but I'm in this, while you're in inclusion, I'm doing the time same as you. And I said, if you notice, I said, the only thing that you guys are having at lunchtime is what I call dead sandwiches. I'm eating the same stuff as you. So there's no difference between us. And the principal heard everything. Anyway, the next training day after we broke up, she kind of announced to the whole school that staff need to be in professional dress. And then at the end of the training day, she came up to me and she went, what you said there, it made so much sense. Because end of the day, if I'm telling a kid he needs to do his top collar and his tie, and I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt, no tie, this, that, and the other, I'm a hypocrite. We need to set examples. And kids knew that I'm approachable. And the thing is, 6'3", 20 odd stone. I know some adults are probably, when I give them that Mustafa look, they probably crap themselves. But these kids know that I genuinely cared for them. I want them, and it's just like, all the kids, I want them to succeed. And I've said to them, the reason I do the job what I do is because I don't want you lot to go through the same pain that I've been through. because I'm from the streets. These guys are from the streets, and that's what it was, and it's made a difference, you know. And it's all down to them now, you know. They've got that path that they got to lead and walk, and they've got to realize that, you know, there's nothing wrong with them. You know, they can succeed as long as they put that work in.
Absolutely, mate. So, do any of the kids know that you are a wrestler, and what's been their reaction to it?
Oh boy, yeah. Bloody hell, did they know that I'm a wrestler? Wow. One of the kids, the same school I worked in, one of the kids came up to me and he said, he just kind of pulled my sleeve. He went, "Sir, I need to ask you something." He went, "You look like this guy called Mustafa Khan." And I went, "You what?" He went, "I watch it on YouTube. I've seen it, you know." And I said to him, I said, "Yeah." I said, "That's me." And he went, "Whoa, oh my God, blah, blah, blah." Then he said, so I said to him, I said, "Look, we're only wrestling in Wakefield." At that time, we were in Horbury at UKW. And I said, "Why don't you come to one of our shows if you're a fan of wrestling?" And he said, he went, "Sir, I've never been out of Leeds, never mind, you know, going to Wakefield." So I said, "Leave it with me." And what I did was I went to the principal and I said, "I need to ask you something." So she said, "What's up?" So I said, told her what's happened. I said, "How about if we did a charity show in school where the money, the proceeds go to charity of your choice?" And she said, "Let me think about it." And here I am. I was thinking, you know what? They're just going to say no because it's violent. It's this, that, and the other. It's not appropriate, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they turned around and said, "Yeah, do it." And I think the first charity that we did was Children's Heart Surgery Fund, where infants, you know, they had scars from the, you know, like literally top of the chest to the bottom of the chest, and infants, you know, having heart surgery and this, that, and the other. And I organized single-handedly everything from A to Z. And I forgot to bring my wrestling gear to the show, and I had to wear t-shirt and shorts to wrestle on that show, you know. And but other schools, yeah, they've recognized me and they've known that I've wrestled and this, that, and the other. But they've also recognized me from TV as well. So which caused havoc.
Absolutely, bud. Absolutely. So, I actually got a message from someone from one of your colleagues from UKW a couple of weeks ago. If I can find it really quick.
Yeah.
And I believe that he is actually putting on a charity event as well to support the hospice for his wife.
Yep.
I've got he actually sent me the poster just here.
Oh yeah.
So as you guys can see, it is wrestling for the Kirkwood Support Life High Five. It is at the UKW Arena in Batley on the 15th of November. We were asked if we would be attending so that we could do live reactions. Unfortunately, we won't be attending that, but make sure that you guys go and check that out. It's an absolutely fantastic cause. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic night. Obviously, Mustafa, I'm guessing you are going to be there, bud?
Yep, I'm going to be there.
That's fantastic, mate. So yeah, guys, make sure you go check that out. It's going to be a fantastic night. So Mustafa, if I could ask you about what initially drew you to professional wrestling, is it something you want to do since you were a kid, or is it something that obviously you came into later on in life?
So originally, I remember sitting down in front of the TV on Saturday afternoons, you know, watching it. You're probably too young when it was on ITV. I think it was on BBC. I can't remember which, but my dad was a massive wrestling fan, absolutely mad about wrestling. And we used to go to Leeds Town Hall to watch wrestling, and you know, we used to watch Marty Jones, Pat Roach, Big Daddy, Giant Haystacks, and all these guys. And I remember as a kid, probably 6, 7 years old, I touched the rope of that wrestling ring in the town hall. To me, it was like, oh my God, it was just amazing. Never in my life I thought I'd get into wrestling, never. And it was just having a conversation with my dad, and he kind of just, he just kind of said, he goes, that it was his dream to become a wrestler. That gave me a lot of time to think, and I thought, you know what, I want to do it for him. And thankfully, you know what, I did do, and I hope I made him proud. You know what I mean? But And he came down to watch me wrestle a few times, and yeah, I did it for him.
Absolutely, mate. So obviously, as you mentioned, you went from mixed martial arts into wrestling. I myself have got a bit of a background in kickboxing as well. What was that like? Obviously, going from kickboxing to martial arts to wrestling. Like, what was your first training experience like?
Oh, the very first one. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's like the first place that we ever trained in was in Stoke-on-Trent with a gentleman called Chris, and he was, I think, he had a number of black belts in jiu-jitsu. A very, very tough individual, and I remember, arriving there for a weekend training session, and I come from a kickboxing martial background, but I also did jiu-jitsu. I did other stuff as well. So the rolls, the break falls, it was like, oh, I've done this. You know what I mean? And at that time, I weighed in about 23 to 24, 25 stone. I was a big dude, but I could lift my head. I could lift my leg and kick head high. I could do jumping, spinning kicks. I could do everything at that time. And the training, and it was like a lot of the rolls, the bumps, and everything. I'm like, wow, I've done this. So that kind of made me feel a lot more confident. And then it all came down to the character, the gimmick, what we were building up on. But it was hard training sessions. And this is what I say to a lot of the UKW trainees. They laugh at me because this old fella, when he sometimes coaches, says, oh yeah, you know what, you're blessed, you've got a wrestling ring. We were training in a bloody garage with PE mats on the floor, right? Doing bumps on a concrete floor with these little thin blue PE mats covered in motor oil and all that. And we were doing bump drills on that, and that's what made us, do you know what I mean? But it was, I absolutely loved it. Once I had that weekend, it was like, no hesitation. I want to carry on. Smashed it. Loved it.
Fantastic, mate. And I'm guessing that you went from that to then going to UKW. Is that correct?
Yeah. We all know a young gentleman. I think everyone in the wrestling world knows him, Rampage Brown. So I've known Rampage since he was about 12, 13-year-old. And so he kind of just like, dude, do you realize there's a wrestling company in Wakefield? Because we were traveling down to Stoke-on-Trent every Sunday for training for 6 hours. And he sent me the details, and I called Jonathan, and I went down initially just to have a 10, 15-minute meeting with him during the session. And I took some of my promos, I took some of my matches down, and I ended up staying there about 2-3 hours talking to Jonathan, and then I decided to train at UKW, which was, you know what, probably some of the best time I've ever had, because it was just amazing coaches, amazing place, and I think I shocked a lot of people because of the size of my build. I think I was weighing in around 340, 350 pounds, but I could do spinning, jumping heel kicks and all sorts. And I was very, very quick on my feet, and I loved it. And that's when 2011 is when I went.
Fantastic, mate. What would you say the best piece of advice Jonathan's ever given you is?
The thing with Jonathan is, he's you know, I often looked at him and I thought, you know what, he's so many years younger than me, but his knowledge is unbelievable. And he I think he just be yourself. Don't take, I think what I learned, that wrestling is wrestling. Yeah. Don't get involved in politics. Don't get involved in things that don't involve you, and a lot of the UKW guys know this. And so when I go down, get changed, I get changed from in a total different place on my own. And for some people, it might be like, oh, you know what, he's arrogant, is this, that, and the other. I don't want to get involved in any politics if there is any. I don't know if there is. I can't tell you if there is because I'm not there. But people come and go. You know, they'll pop in, "Oh, Mustafa, how you doing? Blah blah. We'll have a bit of a chat." You know, and this, that, and the other. And that's me. And that's one thing I've learned is that within wrestling, you need to focus on you. And I think that's with Jonathan. He's given me that advice that I've like kept close to me. He might not remember that he's given me that advice, but I know it was early on when I arrived at UKW. It was just like, just be careful. In this type of game, you just need to focus on you. Forget what's happening around you. That involves others. Yeah, just focus on you, and that's all it is.
Fantastic, mate. So obviously, for those that have watched UKW, watch yourself, you've fought against Jonathan Sedgwick, you've been tag teams with Jonathan Sedgwick. Which do you prefer and why?
Oh, I absolutely love facing Jonathan because we know it's going to be one hell of a match. There's no ego. There's no, well, I'm going to do this, blah, blah, blah. It is just straight down the middle. And I know I'm going to be in good hands. He knows he's going to be safe. You know, what do I prefer, facing him or tagging? Do you know one thing? Right, okay, that's literally 50-50. Because I love facing the guy in the ring, but I also love tagging up with him. You know, I probably go tagging because we do make one hell of a team. And I think, you know what, if we brought that team back, we would soon have those tag team titles.
Absolutely, mate. The only reason why I asked that is because when we did the quick fire questions, I asked you who's the best opponent you've ever had, and you actually said Jonathan. So I had to get that question in there.
No worries.
So obviously, like you said, you've been doing this for nearly 25 years, bud. What would you say have been some of the most memorable moments or matches in your career so far?
I think one of the hardest, the most difficult match I ever did. 13 years this year, my mum passed away, and I was organising a charity event at the school that I used to work in, and we were raising money for Kenyan orphans. And my family, even though we're Indian heritage, my mum was born in Kenya, and she passed away in November, and the show was in December. And I did have the option to cancel it. I did have the option to give someone else to take over and run with it, and I wasn't going to wrestle on it. But I did it. I did it for my mum, and it was the hardest match I ever had to do. And I had my whole family on the front row. My uncle, my auntie, my sisters, cousins, this, that, and the other. And there was an empty seat next to my dad. And when I walked to the ring, I had flowers in my hand. I made, I walked around, and the thing what made it what more emotional for me was the kids in the school knew what I'd gone through. The staff did, everyone did, and literally walked around the whole ring and placed the flowers on that empty seat where my mum would have sat, because a year before, she was at the very first charity show that I did for the Children's Heart Surgery Fund. So for me, that was, and I remember jumping in the ring and I just kind of burst into tears, and the referee helped me out to compose myself and this, that, and the other. And, it's not even been 2-3 days since the funeral, and I'm in there wrestling, and that was probably the most meaningful match what I've had. Definitely one of the hardest ones as well.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. So I've got a comment from a colleague of yours and someone who's actually going to be on the show next Tuesday. Mr. JD King says, had to drop in and say hi. Mustafa may have put his hands through my chest on Friday, but I've got nothing but love for that man and know the tag titles are ours. So might have to get in touch with Jonathan and get that tag team back together. Mustafa,
Yeah.
title or something.
Oh, so he's a legend. I absolutely loved stepping in the ring, and felt bad about the chops.
Absolutely, mate. So, obviously, as we know, as obviously me and you know, UKW is full of fantastic young talent. Obviously, we've got Joe Sedgwick, there's Brett Sedgwick, there's Evan Bishop, there's too many to name. If you could have a match with any of those guys, say having an hour's long Ironman match, who would you pick?
Oh, do you know what? The name came straight to my head, and that was Joe Sedgwick. That was Joe Sedgwick. But like you said, you got Evan Bishop. Another talented. These guys are just super gifted, super talented, but they work at it. Seb Mercer, you know what I mean. There's a lot, but for me, yeah, I have wrestled Joe Sedgwick. I have wrestled Evan Bishop. I definitely either of them two, but Joe Sedgwick for definite, because with him, I've been there since 2011. I've seen him when he was a little kid. Do you know what I mean? And amazing guy, amazing wrestler, and he's training and he's doing everything the right way. He's got no ego. He's got nothing. He's between him and Evan Bishop for definite. Both gifted, both talented. But Joe, we've had a match, and it's been one hell of a match. It was, and it's just, you know what? He's followed his father's footsteps. Do you know what I mean? Love stepping in the ring with Jonathan, and same with Joe. I need to beat up the other Sedgwicks. That's all.
Absolutely, mate. Definitely. I think there's definitely something in the water over the Sedgwick house, because that family is just unreal. The amount of talent that those guys have got is absolutely insane.
Unbelievable.
I've got to say, bud, there is one person that I have missed out, and I can't believe I'm missing him out. Who I think it'd be an absolutely awesome match is you and George Hunter.
Wow. Yeah. And I tell you what, he is one phenomenal wrestler. I love watch. I've done commentary a few times. Another guy, and you know what? And I'll be honest with you. When we're downstairs in the changing rooms and this, that, and you're a very quiet individual. You know what I mean? Very polite, very respectful. But bloody hell, what a wrestler! What a wrestler! That would be that'd be a good match. That'd be a good match, and I love a challenge. And that's one thing I thrive on, is that I want to be stepping in a ring with someone that's going to challenge me. And I think that would be a good match. So, George, get ready.
He's putting you on notice, George. Make sure you're watching your back. So obviously, like I listed earlier, but all some of your accomplishments being ex-hardcore tag team and heavyweight champion. How do you prepare for such a big match, both mentally and physically?
For a hardcore match, let me put it this way: they're my favorite type of matches. They're the favorite type of matches, and for me, once I hear that I'm in a Persian rules match, which means that there are no rules, or a hardcore match, I'm buzzing. And I'm searching the whole house for weapons. I'm searching the yard. I'm putting Facebook's posts. Guys, have you got anything that I could use in a wrestling match as a weapon? Keyboards, laptops, you name it. You see, I'm getting excited now. I'm not even bloody wrestling in a hardcore match. And for me, it's a buzz. And it's like, I know I keep saying I'm not a violent guy, but that's my type of match. And I remember once, there were certain individuals that we were going to be in a match with, and I said it to them. I said, you guys might win, but you guys will be crawling out, right? I will be walking out, because I guarantee you're stepping into Mustafa's world where weapons, I love it. There's no for me. There's no. I don't need to prepare for it. If you said to me now, you know what, Mustafa, you're going to be wrestling in half an hour for a hardcore match. I'm looking. I've got weapons. I'm looking for weapons. I just need that green light to get there. But yeah, no. But honestly, I just love it. I just love it. Some people don't like it. Some people, it's not for them. For me, yeah. Especially with the shopping trolley. We need that.
I was just about to say, when we came to watch it Aftermath, whose idea was it for the spot with the shopping trolley?
So, do you know what? I don't. I've used a shopping trolley a couple of times in the past. You know, where I brought it in, so at UKW years ago, the ramp used to go down towards the ring. And I was wrestling someone, and he's at the bottom of the ramp. I went back, got the trolley full of all weapons and this and the laptops, you name it, and I pushed the trolley straight into the face as they were at the bottom of the ramp. So I've kind of used it, and I can't remember if it's Johan's idea or mine. I can't remember. I don't, yeah, I think it would. Maybe we'll go with Johan. Yeah, we'll go with Johan just in case there's any comeback because he's a bit of a crybaby. You know what I mean? Do you know what? I need to tell you and the viewers this. Yeah, Johan Hunt is scared of bouncing balls. That's it. If you get a bouncing ball and you throw it at him, he's gonna be scared. He hates it.
I hope he watches this episode because it'd be so funny to see his reaction. I mean, I loved it at Showcase of Champions as well when he had his first match against Jonathan Cedric, and funnily enough, yours truly actually started the chant of "Where's your title gone?"
Oh.
So I sat to that chant every single time it came out. The kids were just shouting that chant every bit of the night. So then I watched the YouTube video because they do the pre-show on YouTube, and the commentator was like, "I like that chant. That's the best one I've heard tonight." I'm like, yes, that's my claim to fame.
That's good. I'll keep reminding him as well.
I kind of put myself in it because I shared it on my Instagram story and actually tagged him in it, saying, "Oh, I'm getting credit for this." He's like, "Right, I know who did it now." I'm like, "Oh shit." Oh dear. Anyway, mate, how would you say that your wrestling style or your persona has evolved ever since you started?
Wow. I think with Mustafa, he's a brawler. Yeah. So there's no fancy wrestling moves. There's no wrist locks, headlocks. It is just brute force. It is, clotheslines, shoulder blocks, punches, kicks, and now and again, like a sidewalk slam and obviously the choke slam. Yeah, Mustafa is he's a brawler. He's a brawler.
Absolutely, but if you could compare Mustafa Khan to any like WWE wrestler, past or present, who would you sort of like compare him to?
Bloody hell!
You can pick two. Combine them.
I won't know. I'd compare myself to. I tell you what, who I've taken kind of snippets from, especially with the strikes that I use and working the lower back, is Bret Hart. And then there's a bit of Bad News Brown as well there, especially if I'm a heel, this, that, and the other. But I'd probably say them two. But it's like, because I love Bret Hart, absolutely love Bret Hart. But the way he strikes and works the lower back, and this, that, and the other, and obviously and then Bad News Brown, who was just like that attitude that I was just like, you know what, he's the baddest man on the planet, and this, that, and the other, especially when I was being a heel. But that's a tough question. I'll probably take snippets from both of them too.
Definitely would. So I've got an Instagram question, and then we're going to get into the mental health side of things.
All
But
right.
the Instagram question is from our mutual friend that you've already mentioned, him, Mr. Johan Hunt, who I said that he asked a question earlier, and he asked if it was about Skittles. It isn't about Skittles. He asks, "How does it feel to get slapped in 62 seconds?" Brackets. He will know what I mean.
Oh, this guy, right? Okay, do you know what he means? Do you know what he means by
I
this?
don't.
Right. Okay. So he's a Manchester United fan, right? I'm a Liverpool fan. So what he's saying is, well, we got slapped. They scored in 62 seconds, and I know he'll be watching this. And just as I've put on Facebook, yes, Manchester United beat Liverpool, but we're still above you. There we go. Who got slapped? Oh, I need to tell you this. So Mustafa Khan is known as the king of chops, yeah. So Johan Hunt has taken chops from me. And one day I felt bad. I went, go on, Johan, you can chop me. He chopped me once, twice, 3 times, and then he hurt his hand. And then there was no more chops from Johan. And if you talk to him, about, no, my hand tingled, it tingled. No, you had no feeling in your hand. Now he knows what it feels like to be a fly hitting a screen at 100, a windscreen at 100 miles per hour because those chops were weak, just like what Johan Hunt is. He's weak. Yeah, simple as.
I love that, mate. I love the I love the competence between you and Johan. Obviously, after the show at UK Showcase of Champions, our very good friend John Nicky was doing a little thing with the beam. I think was that beam bulls or sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
I think you had one and Johan had one, and you were just ripping the piss out of each other. It was so funny.
I was with him the other day and I said to him, I said, what we need a camera crew around us for 24 hours. And I said, they will have material, right, that will be good enough for TV. I said, we'll be famous overnight. And the thing is, I've known Johan for quite a while. I brought him to UKW, do you know what I mean? And I first met him, we're both actors, we're both involved in acting, and he met me at one of the acting classes and we hit it off. And then I told him about the wrestling. He's like, what, you're a wrestler, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. And he's written a beautiful script called Babyface. And I just hope he can get this produced because it is an amazing, amazing script. And he needs to get it done. He needs to get it filmed because I'm getting too old for it now. Do you know what I mean? And that's it. And then I brought him to UKW to train because even as an actor, and if you're getting involved in anything, you need to train. And he stuck by it. And look at him now. Phenomenal, phenomenal wrestler, gifted, very talented. I hate saying this, but he supports a dead team, and we usually have competitions where we do promos on each other. And one day I was taking a session and he took the mickey out of Mustafa Khan. And I think I just said, look, I said, end of the day, I said, you say that Johan Hunt's been raised by freaking wolves. I said, what the hell did they feed you on, kitty cat? I said, you look like a vegan wolf to me. I said, you're the first white Ethiopian I've ever seen in my life. How the hell are you a wrestler? My laces are thicker than you, And, Paul, but he takes it. Do you know what I mean? Bless him. It's just like Manchester United. They take all the goals, do you know what I mean, from the opposing team. And, that's it. But he's going to kill me for this. I actually got banned from Facebook for 5 twice because of the banter that me and him have had. Yeah.
That's absolutely brilliant, mate. Jumping brilliant. Okay, so compose myself. If it's all right with you, bud, we'll jump into the mental health side of things if that's okay with you, mate.
Yeah. definitely.
So guys, as I say, we're going to jump into the mental health questions now. Obviously, these questions may get a bit upsetting. Any answers that Mustafa gives might be upsetting to people that have either experienced the same things that Mustafa has. If you have suffered from mental health, or you still do, make sure to check out the description below, because I've put some links there for some organisations that do help with mental health. So yeah, yeah. We'll see you in 2 seconds, guys. So, but if you don't mind starting, can you share a bit about when you first started experiencing your struggles, please?
Yeah, I think I've always had, and I think this is what kind of surprised a lot of people is I think I've struggled with my mental health for many years, and I've never really recognized it, never really dealt with it, never, and I always kind of shoved it, in the back of my mind. Um, you won't believe it. I mean, you've seen me wrestle. Low self-esteem, no self-esteem, no confidence, no self-belief, and I will not believe when people turn around and give me compliments and this, that, and the other. So I've had it majority of my life, but I've achieved a hell of a lot, and this is what my own doctors kind of said. Well, you wrestle, you kickbox, you've got your own kickboxing club, you're an actor, you've been on TV, movies, this, that, and the other. Yeah, and what does it make you feel like? Just that's all it is. And it's been, but the older I've got, the mental health has got worse, because as we all know, that life throws curveballs at you, and you've got to deal with them. But it's worse when you don't have no one. I've got my family, I've got my sister and my family and that. But it's worse when you don't have a partner, when you don't have anyone to lean on. So I'd say, yeah, my mental health has been going on for years. And I tell you what, wrestling has definitely been a massive. This is why I don't want to quit. This is why I don't want to quit. I know for a fact that I need wrestling in my life, because if I don't, I'm just going to sink deeper and deeper, and that's the truth.
Absolutely, bud. So, as we mentioned earlier, you're very much seen as like an uncle to the guys at UKW. You're seen as the locker room leader. When you're having your bad days and when you're having your struggles, who's like, who are the people that you turn to within the wrestling community?
There's a handful of people just very recently. Obviously, you got the Sedgwicks, John, and also Joe. Joe messaged me only a few weeks ago, and I don't know why. While I messaged it, I opened up and told him what had happened. And one of the things what I love about the Sedgwicks and UKW is my dad died 2 years ago, and the Broccos, Gemma and Wayne, Sedgwicks, they attended my dad's funeral. And that meant the world to me, because I've had people within the wrestling world, outside of the wrestling world, that call me brother, that I'm always here for you, you name it, whatever. I didn't even get a text message to say condolences. And here you have the Sedgwicks, the Joys, the Broccos, and also Johan Hunt, an absolute legend. I will just talk to them, and then especially in the wrestling world, it'll be them, the Broccos, the Joys, Sedgwicks, and I'm sorry to say that, but Johan Hunt. But he's a good one. He's a good one.
Absolutely, bud. So, has there been any particular moments where, or periods in your career where your struggles have felt particularly overwhelming, maybe whilst you're at a show, maybe whilst you're at a training session, and when you've been experiencing those overwhelming things, what sort of strategies do you employ to get through those problems?
Yeah, oh boy, yeah. A few years ago, at my lowest point, and I don't know if you've seen it. I think it is in that little video that you've shared where I'm in the ring and I'm just squatting down, my head's down, my head in my arms. And I said, even in victory, I feel like I'm a loser. And that's what it felt like. That it was just my whole world had shattered. And you had people around you. Like I said, everyone at UKW had people around you, but you had to carry on. And that was the hardest thing. You had to kind of focus on your match. You had to do it. And I think deep in my heart, I knew that if I stopped there, I'd never go back to wrestling. And if I hadn't have gone back, I would have done something stupid. And the thing is, and I don't know if Jonathan Sedgwick did this intentionally, but at my darkest point, or my lowest point, he knows I'll never say no to him. He knows for a fact if Jonathan asked me to do something, I'm never going to say no to him. And he asked me, he went, and we don't wait, there's none of this, oh, hi mate, you okay? It's brother. That morning, brother, how you doing? I need a favor. What's up, John? I need someone to do commentary. And I think this had just after my dad had passed away, the funeral had come and gone, and I think he knew, and I don't know, I could be wrong. I think he knew that he needs to get Mustafa back to wrestling. And I went on commentary for the first time, and I hardly said a word. I just didn't want to talk. I didn't want to do it, but I couldn't say no to Jonathan. But then the second week, I started to talk a little bit more, and I talked and I talked and I talked a bit more. And then one day I turned around to Jonathan. I said, Jonathan, I'm here. Why are you not booking Mustafa? Do you know what I mean? And he went, now you're ready to go. And like I said, I've not had this conversation with him. I don't know if he did it intentionally or he just needed someone to do commentary, but my heart's saying that he did it because he knew what I was going through. He just wanted to get me out of the house, that I'm not with my thoughts. But I know for a fact, if he hadn't done that, I do know that I'd probably do something stupid if I had not gone back to wrestling. And like I said, there's loads of people that call me their brother. I never hear from them. Never hear from them. But when, just like with most people, when they needed it, you know what I mean? I've always been there. I've always been there. But do you know what? You just move on. But I know for a fact that if I go to Gemma and Wayne, Tracy, Brocco, Johan and John and the Sedgwicks, they're going to help me without a shadow of a doubt. And that's my support mechanism right there at wrestling there. And you know what? Couldn't ask for better people.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely fantastic, that, mate. So, obviously, when Jonathan comes up to you and says, "Oh, I'm pushing you to be champion," what's like goes through your head when he says something like that to you? And then when you wanted to go book the match, what goes through your head?
When I got told, okay, that I'm going to get the title, do you know what? It's a sense of accomplishment that they trust you. You're the poster boy. You are representing UKW. So whatever you do, yeah, okay, we're not at WWE status, yeah. We're not mega famous, but me personally, the reason I wrestle is for the crowd, yeah. And if John says, you know what, we're going to put the heavyweight title on you, that means, you know what, I've got to up my game. He trusts me. Yeah, I can do this. Yeah, and I will do this, and I will represent UKW through and through. And I said to someone the other day with UKW is, I'm that type of person where, for me, UKW wrestlers will come and go, but for me, you've got to represent that promotion. Yeah, respect that promotion, and you know, and just be there. Because the thing is, it's like with me personally now, is at this time in my life, the only company I actually wrestle for is UKW, but I've also been loyal to UKW since 2011. But when he puts a title on me or whatever, it's a sense of like, you know what, you done well, lad. You know, you're representing UKW. You're the poster boy. You know, you're the face. You're the man that's representing. Just like with Johan and all the other heavyweight champions that's been there. You know the Yorkshireman. You know, he's representing UKW. He's the main man. You know, so he's a sense of pride, and it's like, you know, and it's this. You know, you've reached top of the mountain.
Definitely, bud. So obviously, with you being such a big guy and being obviously when you're going up against someone like an Evan Bishop, Joe Sedgwick, a Brett Sedgwick, someone that's quite a lot smaller, would you say that there's more pressure on you to make sure that that person is safe when you're in the ring with them? And do you sort of like thrive under that pressure?
Zero pressure. And this is like, you know, this is one thing that I've been working on with my therapist and this and that, because I'm good at what I do. And this is like probably the first time I'm actually, and you can ask the wrestlers, you can ask Jonathan Sedgwick. It's very rare that you will hear me say, oh yeah, do you know what? I've absolutely smashed it. I'm at top of my game and this, that, and the other. My main concern when in a ring with anyone is my opponent's safety and my safety, and that we put on a hell of a show for the crowd. So there's no pressure. And the other thing is, if I get wrestlers to say, and I don't know if it was Joe or Evan or one of the lighter, the more agile wrestlers, when they said, I want to do X, Y, and Z, I've got to be honest with them and say, look, I'm not comfortable taking that. I don't feel comfortable. You know what I mean? Especially, you know, and they're like, cool, we'll move on. And I think nowadays there's a bit of an ego, or if I say this, or they're going to think I'm a bitch, or they're going to think I'm a this, that, and the other. Yeah, me, I just say it. I just say, look, I'm not comfortable taking this. Can we just change it? Can we adapt it? You know, whatever. And yeah, so I've always, for me, safety first. And I've always said it that, you know, whoever I'm wrestling, I'll always look out for them. The only part I probably won't look out on is when I chop them. That, you know, but they know that. They know that. I've never said to one wrestler, I'm going to chop you. They just say, we'll take it.
So who would you say you've given the hardest chop to?
Oh, boy. Oh. I feel really bad about this one. There was an individual many years ago. We sat in the changing rooms. I don't know if he was making his debut. We're in a tag match. And there's quite a few veterans there, quite a few old guys there. And he just said, he goes, I want to take a chop off you. All right. How many do you want? 10. The room went silent. I went, okay, as you know, if you ask for something in wrestling, you've got to take it. And threw him over the ropes, were outside, tied his arms through the barriers, chopped him. And when he had a t-shirt on, within 3 chops, there were a bit of blood seeping through. And I still owed him 7 chops, which he got. He said to me that he's actually got that. I even ripped the t-shirt and chopped him. And he said he's got the t-shirt. You know, he had welts on his chest. Blood was seeping through. And yeah, that won't probably be the hardest one.
Oh wow. So how important is seeking professional help through therapy been for you, but for your mental health journey?
Do you know? I think for me personally, it has been really, really helpful. Really helpful. But I think the first thing is you've got to acknowledge that there's an issue.
Mhm.
You've got to realize you can't keep living this way. You can't keep avoiding it. So, with me personally, um, many years ago, I studied counselling, and I sometimes analyze myself. And when I know that I'm not in a good place, I will reach out for my mental health nurse. Another, you've got to. For me, I never had that. Oh well, I'm 6'3", I'm a black belt kickboxer, a wrestler, this, that, and the other. Do you know? I feel embarrassed going ask. Nah. I've always said to my martial art, my kickboxing students, the most powerful weapon you got is your mind. And if this is screwed up, then you need help. Then you got to go out and seek help. And if it's going to better your life, it's a bonus. So don't hold back. Just go out and seek that help. And my mental health nurse, I only talked to her last week. Yeah, last week I talked to her. And she's saying that I'm making progress, that, every little thing that I do to improve my life is progress. And this might shock quite a few people, because when they see Mustafa Khan, he's always got a smile on his face. Every time you see me at UKW, I'm greeting people, I'm giving high fives, handshakes, hugs, you name it. But then you don't know what's going on in my heart. And a lot of people won't know very, very recently, I self-harmed, and there was a lot of frustration. There was a lot of anger. There was a lot of confusion, where I ended up taking, I'll say, I don't mind sharing it because I think it's important that you share stuff like this. I took a screwdriver to my arm. And then I've also quit my job in education. I'm going through a lot in my own personal life, but I'm working in education. The stress I became overwhelmed, struggled, couldn't sleep, on sleeping tablets. But the thing is, each day, I'm getting better, and you got to realize that you can't be doing this, you can't be doing that, and you need to get that help. And I think once you've acknowledged that you need help, that you need some sort of assistance, one thing what surprised me is that another thing what I've done is I've reached out to people. I've reached out and I've told them, you know what, this has happened. I need help. My sister and her family, my brother-in-law, you know what, they've just been a massive, massive help to me. When I messaged my sister to say, but you know what, I'm just going to let you know that I've handed my notice in. I'm off sick. I took a screwdriver to my arm. She's a very, very strong individual. And I thought she was going to have a go at her baby brother, but it was like nothing but support and love. And, and don't be afraid to ask for help. And now I can go to her, I can go to my brother-in-law, I can go to the guys at wrestling, and just open up and just say, look, I'm struggling with this, that, and the other, can you help me with this? And the support I've got from UKW especially, it's just been amazing. And I know this will shock a lot of people because I am a bit of a comedian. I love having a laugh, but behind that clown smile, it's not always joy and happiness and jokes. There's a darker side. And soon when you walk away from wrestling, what I hate the most is walking to my car to know that I'm going home to an empty house, and where everyone's going there, they've got partners or they've got family, and it's the worst feeling. And I remember once wrestling at UKW on a Friday, I sat in my car after everyone had gone, The show finished ages ago, and I was there, still there, sat in my car till about 11:30 p.m. because I didn't want to go home to an empty house. But I didn't, at that time I didn't want to reach out to people because I thought I'm a burden. They're like, oh, friggin' hell, what's he calling me again for? What does he want, now? And it was, and that's what was going through my head. And what I don't want to be is I don't want to be a burden. I feel that I'm here to help others rather than others help me. But, going back to that question is once you know that you're down that spiral and you're going lower and lower, that's when you need to just pick up that phone, call your doctors, call whoever you need to call, and just get that help. There's and I said it to my kickboxing students, even at my age and this, that, and the other. I'll happily step in the ring and fight. I'll happily step in the ring and compete against anyone. But the hardest battle is to pick up that phone and call for help, call for support. But it has to be done. Has to be done. And people need to, and I know there's a lot of people that see me said, you know what, okay, Monty's all right, Mustafa's all right, he's been on TV, he's doing this, he's writing his little script, he's teaching kickboxing, he's acting, he's wrestling, blah blah blah. Life's good. Nah, far from it. And and now, and I'm one of those people where I'm not afraid to share my experiences because I'm human. And if I can help someone else pick up that phone and seek help, that's a bonus.
Absolutely, mate. That's entirely what this platform is for people like yourselves to come up on here and share their stories, and hopefully it will help someone that is watching. So for anyone that is watching, bud, whether they be a wrestler, fan, or whatever, what message would you give them if they are struggling with their mental health in silence?
Is to, you know what I would do first, and this is what I can only say what I did. I picked up that phone and I contacted my GP. And one of the things is you've got to be brutally honest with them. And my heart was racing when I was going to see my GP, because I like to think that I'm a strong-minded individual. But when how I kind of explained it is, every time I'm trying to get to my feet, I'm getting kicked back down. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, and it got to the point where I've got no fight in me anymore. I don't want to get back up. But that's when you know that there's only one path. That's going to take, either you're not going to be here much longer. And like I said, a lot of people don't realize is that the thoughts of, I'm better off if I'm not here. No one's going to miss me. Who's going to miss me? I'm already alone. I don't have no one. You know what I mean? And the realization is, and Brocco opened my eyes big time. And he said it to me when you loved at UKW. I went, I'll leave it out, bro. Leave it out. No one loves me. Nah, leave it out. Then he showed me a couple of my entrances when straight after my dad, after I had that break after my dad passed away, and the crowd went nutty. The crowd just popped. And he sent me several videos and he went, are you telling me you're not loved? And I'm like, how do I answer that? But another thing what's been helping me get through all this is a saying, I don't know if I made it up, I don't know if I've heard it elsewhere, is each second, each minute, each hour that passes, I'm getting closer to happiness, because all the bad stuff ain't going to last forever. But the other thing is you've got to do something about it. You've got to do something about it. And that's the key thing. Don't be afraid to pick up that phone. Don't be afraid to contact your GP or your loved ones or whoever you need. There was a point, and I'll be honest with you, a good few years ago, I ran out of the building where I was working in a school. I ran out to the car park, dropped on my hands and knees, and I was crying my eyes out. And I'm going through my phone. Who do I call? Who do I call? Who do I call? Do you know what I mean? And you don't want to be at that stage. You don't want to be at that stage. And, it's going to be it's a hard battle. but it's a battle that each and every one of us can win, and and we can advise others on what to do.
Absolutely, mate. Can't think of anything better to say on that one, bud. So as we start to wind down, mate, what role would you say that wrestling has played in your overall mental health journey? Has it been a source of strength? Has it been a challenge? Or would you say it's been a bit of both?
It's been a bit of both. Definitely, it's always a challenge, especially with. I remember I was a UKW heavyweight champion, and main event, my opponent's already out of the ring, and I'm stood behind these black curtains. And I don't know if Jonathan will remember, we were in Horbury, and seconds before my music's about to play, I turned around to John and said, "I can't do it." He went, "You what?" He went, I said, "I can't go. I can't do it. I can't do it." And he was like, "What do you mean you can't go?" Like I say, John knows me really, really well. He just played the Mustafa Khan music. Bang, that's it. And I went through there. And as a person that's not very, that doesn't have a lot of self-esteem, a lot of confidence, a lot of, self-belief, I believe I'm good when I go out and I do wrestle. And for me, wrestling, and I've said it to Joe Sedgwick, I said it to Jonathan Sedgwick, I'm getting older and older and older. I don't want to leave, right? I do not want to leave wrestling, because I know for a fact, deep down in my heart, that if I walk away from wrestling, my life's going to get darker and darker and darker. So I want to be involved. I want to be involved in wrestling one way or another, either as a wrestler, either as a general manager or a manager. I don't want to ref, because Gary's a really good referee, but I want to be involved in wrestling one way or another, because that gives me strength, that gives me my self-belief, builds up my confidence. That's my rabbit, by the way. 6'3" powerhouse of a wrestler. I've got two gorgeous rabbits, so I don't know if you can hear them scurrying away. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, wrestling is my lifeline, without a shadow of a doubt. But not only wrestling, it's the people that are involved in that wrestling, especially at UKW. And I've wrestled at a few other promotions. You know what I mean? I never slag off another promotion. I never disrespect any promotion. I never forget where I started off from. But for me, wrestling is a massive, massive part of my life, where I know for a fact, if I walk away from it, bad things are going to happen, and I can't do that.
Absolutely, bud. So we're coming down to the last two questions, bud. What are your inspirations and goals within professional wrestling for the future?
Oh, bloody hell. I haven't got much of a future. I'm 51-year-old, that kid. Cod liver oil for the joints. Yeah.
You've got another good 10 years in you.
Oh, yeah. No. All right. Okay. What's my aspiration? What I want to, do you know what? Right. You've heard it here. Right. And I'm going to say, I want to come for the UKW heavyweight title. I want a heavyweight title shot. I want to retire, right, knowing I can get that belt. I made a promise to myself years and years ago that I were a black belt in kickboxing. I wanted to get another black belt, but due to certain injuries and this, that, and the other, I'm not being able to do that. But for wrestling, that's what I want to challenge myself, is that I want the UKW heavyweight title. Yeah. And I'm going to come for it. So you lot watching this, yeah, Jonathan, Joe, you know what? Put my name down, lads. Put my name down.
Definitely, mate. So before I ask the last question, the people that are watching, if you look at the QR code just above my head, forgot to mention this at the beginning of the video, that is actually a link to Mustafa's Instagram page. If you aren't following Mustafa at the moment, make sure you go and follow him at I believe it's Mustafa Prince Mustafa Khan _Prince _champion. I think that's all right.
Persian.
Persian.
Yeah,
I don't know why I said Prince.
Yeah, Persian. So it's Mustafa Khan _Persian _champion or champ, something like
champ.
that.
There you go, guys. Make sure you go check out Mustafa. So, final question for you, Mustafa, mate. And this is the question that I asked Steve Dean, the referee, a couple months back, and he absolutely lost his collective shit. I'm hoping to get a similar reaction from you, bud.
Oh,
Who
boy.
is on your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers?
Oh, boy.
Yes. The
Oh, boy.
reaction.
Oh. What, from around the world? From
Any company you like, mate, you can do one from WWE, one from UK wrestling if you like. You can do whatever.
right, okay. So it's got to be about 4, isn't it? It's 4.
Yeah, it's fun,
Definitely
mate.
Bret Hart. 100% Bret Hart. I love Bret Hart. Secondly is my boy Rampage Brown. Yeah, definite Rampage Brown. The British Bulldog.
Okay.
He's not got the credit what he deserves, and I love him to bits. Oh, do you know? Oh, Gordon Bennett. I don't know who the 4th one is. 4th one.
Johan Hunt.
Bloody hell. You know, he on bloody Mount Rushmore, he'll be size of a pebble, his face. Do you know what I mean? But bloody Johan Hunt. Johan Blunt, more like, tell you. But, you know,
Definitely chanting that next time we come to UKW.
yeah. Oh, you'll be chanting a lot more. So I've got Bret Hart, Rampage, British Bulldog. Who else do I really love watching? Do you know what? Going back to the 70s. And yeah, do you know what? I'm gonna say it. A lot of people might like, oh, friggin' hell. I'm gonna tell you a quick story before I go. I was stood outside the Leeds Town Hall holding my dad's hand, and this wrestler walked past me, yeah. And I was like, oh my God. Years later, fast forward this. I'm sat in the staff room at this school. My phone goes and I answer it. I'm like, hello. He went, hey, is that Monty? I went, yeah, it is. Marty Jones. Right? Because when I saw him when I was a kid, my dad loved Marty Jones. I love Marty Jones, yeah. And I was absolutely buzzing that I'd saw him when I was a kid. And then he's ringing me. Do you know what I mean? Right? And he was like one of my favorite wrestlers as a kid. So definitely, yeah, I'd go for that. Not everyone's choice for those 4 wrestlers, but yeah, for me, we'll have to go with that.
Short personal Mount Rushmore would, and I think that's a fantastic one. So yeah, guys, that is the end of today's episode of the Unseen Battles. Make sure you go check out Mustafa Khan on Instagram. As I said, follow the QR code in the top corner. Make sure you go give us some love. Make sure you go check him out at UKW anytime soon as well. Absolutely fantastic wrestler. He's an absolute mammoth to watch. Mustafa, if to end the podcast, mate, is there anything you want to say, anything you want to plug, anything you want to get off your chest, or anything like that?
Yeah, just want to say that Johan Hunt has got 0 skills, 0 talent. You know what? He looks like an anemic wrestler. Yeah, I've seen more fat on a snooker cue. I saw him wearing steel toe cap boots once, and from the side, he looks like a bloody golf club. So, Johan Hunt. Yeah. Oh, also, you can't even go out with Johan Hunt for a meal because everything has got too many calories in. Do you know what I mean? Too many calories. And like I said, when I first saw him, I was ready to donate money to the first white Ethiopian that was struggling to get food down him. Do you know what I mean? Do you know, he choked on a cornflake. This is what his neck looked like. It was stretched out because of cornflake. That's Johan Hunt. Johan Blunt, the vegan wolf. That's payback. Payback's a bitch, Johan. Watch. Told you, didn't I? Told you. I think me and Johan need to have our own separate page. Yeah, and
We
I
need a
destroyed him
podcast
for
for the-
FC 26. He's rubbish at FIFA. Destroyed him. No, I'll be honest with you. He's beaten me over 300 times, and I think I've only beaten him twice. He's good. Yeah.
Oh, I've absolutely loved talking today, Mustafa. I really do appreciate you coming on, bud. I can't tell you. I can't tell you how much of a pleasure it's been, bud. Obviously, seeing you at UKW, and I can't wait to see you at UKW in the future.
Thank you.
I'm expecting a Mustafa hug next time I see you, though.
Definite.
We need a big boys hug. So yeah, guys, make sure you go check out Mustafa Khan on his socials, and make sure you go check out UKW as well. Big shout out to Jonathan Sedgwick, Joe Sedgwick, Johan Hunt, the Broncos, Seb Mercer as well. And I also want to give a shout out to the UKW who was hardcore champion Danny Missing as well. And also big shout out to Drew Ashland as well, who's still currently recovering from an ankle injury. Want to see Drew get back in the ring as soon as possible. Mustafa, thank you so much for joining me, mate.
Welcome.
See you guys later.